Okay, abusua bɛma akɔ aba asonko so ɛde ba POG Media so breaking news bi abɛn no ɛna ɛkyɛ sɛ yɛayɛ dɛn ya project ato yɛ screen no nkyɛn ɛde ama mo no ɛyɛ Ken Ofori Atta finally ɛyɛ OSP de nsɛm bi aba abɛto dwa wasan so declare Ken Ofori Atta fugitive wa declare ne wanted a abusua ɛyɛ wanted na o declare no Ken Ofori Atta edi kan ɛde bɛto dwa sɛ nka ɔpɛ sɛ ɔne OSP ɛtwetwe nkɔmmɔ ɛwɔ ɛyɛ virtual na ɛkyɛ saa nkɔmmɔ twetwe no ɛkyɛ sɛ ɔno ankasa ɛmba Ghana personally ɔpɛ sɛ ɔne ne twetwe nkɔmmɔ through virtual ɛyɛ wei na ɛyɛ Ken Ofori Atta ne OSP ne nsɛm a ɔde bɛto dwa no ne nsɛm a ɔde bɛto dwa ɔkyerɛ sɛ Ken Ofori Atta ntumi ɛnkyerɛ deɛ ɔno OSP ne pɛ sɛ ɔyɛ cause Ken Ofori Atta di kan de to dwa sɛ nka ɔbɛ appear ɛwɔ Ghana ha sei na investigations na kɔ so on the 2nd June nene 6 o'clock ɛbɔ ya Ken Ofori Atta amba pie mu ɛwɔ Ghana nti no ɛyɛ OSP asan so are declare ɛyɛ Ken Ofori Atta wanted a ebusua ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa Akroma yɛnkɔ na yɛnkɔ ti nsɛm a ɛkɔ so na ansa na yɛbɛkɔ no wɔ nsɛm kan bi afa hyɛ comment section like na hyɛ ma afoforo nso ensa entumi enka bi aha POG Media so medam ase.
National Petroleum Authority. In November 2024, the OSP commenced investigation into suspected corruption. Reasonable date of its return to the jurisdiction. Conviction if the case proceeds to trial. The probable effect on witnesses of a trial and the need to avoid delay in the disposition of other pending cases. 3. National Petroleum Authority. In November 2024, the OSP commenced investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in respect of the operations of National Petroleum Authority, NPA, and the activities of some of its officials. The OSP investigation has revealed that between 2022 and 2024, some high-ranking officials of NPA devised and implemented a corrupt scheme of using public office for profit through threats, intimidation, coercion, suggestions, bribery, and inordinate regulatory duress to obtain for their personal benefit large and other entities under their statutory regulatory, licensing, oversight, and monitoring the petroleum downstream industry. As at the close of business on 30 May 2025, the OSP had uncovered, through tracing and trailing, an amount of 280,516,127 cedis and 19 pesos, being proceeds of the corrupt scheme, some of which has been used by the perpetrators to acquire identified and traced apartments, suites, houses in country and abroad, 22 fuel haulage trucks, and the incorporation, acquisition, and operation of oil marketing companies to compete with the oil marketing companies they were regulating. The OSP, before the end of June, would file criminal charges against the first batch of the perpetrators and complicit oil marketing companies and their officials. Upon filing, we will brief you in detail in respect of who did what, who acquired what, and what has been recovered. 4. Kenneth Nanayao Ofori Atta. We recall that by a letter dated 24 June 2025, Kenneth Nanayao Ofori Atta, a former Minister of Finance, was informed that the OSP had commenced investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses regarding cases in respect of which the OSP considered him a suspect. Further, he was directed to attend in person the OSP on 10 February 2025 for interviewing. Mr. Ofori was out of the jurisdiction at the time. By a letter dated 31 January 2025, Mr. through his lawyers that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds, and that the firm will notify the office of his arrival in the country in aid of rescheduling his personal attendance at the OSP. Further, the lawyers offered its willingness to provide the OSP with any information we may require to aid in the investigation until his arrival in the country. Upon receipt of these representations from his lawyers, the OSP, by a letter dated 5 February 2025, informed Mr. Ofori that the OSP did not need or required notification from his lawyers of his future arrival in the jurisdiction. The OSP acknowledged his lawyers' offer to provide us with information in aid of the investigation. However, the OSP insisted that his personal attendance at the OSP was required. The OSP directed Mr. Ofori to indicate by close of business on 10 February 2025 a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. The OSP warned him that if he failed to do so, the OSP would take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. Mr. Ofori failed to indicate a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction upon the expiry of the 10 February 2025 deadline, except to still persist in his expressed intent of remaining indefinitely outside the jurisdiction by the transmission of his lawyers of a purported and brusque medical letter on 10 February 2025, which only sought, in effect, to state that he may undergo a possible surgical intervention in March 2025. In the considered opinion of the OSP, that medical letter could not be held to be a disclosure of a reasonable date of Mr. Ofori's return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP, since it merely indicated that there may be a possible surgical intervention may or may not occur in March. The letter, which was in no way a medical report, neither stated nor demonstrated that Mr. Ofori was a travel risk or that he was an invalid who needed around-the-clock intense medical attention to the point that traveling to the jurisdiction would endanger his life. Upon the expiry of the 10 February 2025 deadline, the special prosecutor publicly declared Mr. Ofori a wanted person and a fugitive from justice on February 2025, on the ground that his avowed posture of remaining indefinitely outside the jurisdiction without indicating a reasonable time of his return to the jurisdiction showed clearly that he had no intention of voluntarily returning to the jurisdiction. By a letter dated 17 February 2025, Mr. Ofori's lawyers transmitted to the special prosecutor a communication laced with vituperation and designed variously as a denigration of the OSP, a lecture on their suppositions as to the mandate of the OSP, a threat of legal action, a sort of homily as to its affairs, an attack on the person of the special prosecutor, and a suggestion that the special prosecutor had embarked on a personal vendetta against Mr. Ofori without disclosing the alleged series of retaliatory, vengeful, or hostile acts the special prosecutor had directed at him, or alleged exchange of such acts between Mr. Ofori and the special prosecutor. Crucially, a 17 February 2025 letter from Mr. Ofori's lawyers failed to indicate a reasonable date of Mr. Ofori's return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. On this, the OSP, by a letter 17 February 2025, reaffirmed and restated to Mr. Ofori that he remained a wanted person and a fugitive from justice. The OSP further stated that this tag would remain until he indicated a reasonable time of his return to the jurisdiction, with the necessary and reasonable assurances of abiding by his indicated reasonable time, or until such time that the OSP enforces return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP, whichever came first. By a letter dated 18 February 2025, Mr. Oforiatta's lawyers communicated to the OSP that he was scheduled for a possible session in the United States on 20 and 21 March 2025, and further that taking the of the possible surgical intervention into account, he would require a recovery period of 6 to 8 weeks. On this basis, his lawyer stated that he should be able to return to the jurisdiction between 14 and 30 May 2020. On Monday, by letter dated 18 February 2025, the OSP graciously acceded to Mr. Oforiatta's request to return voluntarily to the jurisdiction between 14 and 30 May 2025, as the office deemed the indicated recovery period reasonable in the circumstances. Consequently, the OSP removed Mr. Oforiatta's name from the list of wanted persons pending his voluntary return to the jurisdiction based on his own indicated dates. Consequently, the OSP directed Mr. Oforiatta to attend the OSP in person on Monday, 2 June 2025 at 13:30 GMT for interview, which is today. The OSP emphasized that if he failed to voluntarily return to the jurisdiction within his stated dates, and if he failed to attend the OSP on the rescheduled date of Monday, 2 June 2025 at 13:30 GMT, his name will be re-entered on the list of wanted persons, and the OSP will consider him a fugitive from justice, whereupon the office will take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. Then, by a letter dated 28 May 2025, Mr. Oforiatta's lawyers informed the special prosecutor that a medical expert has diagnosed Mr. Oforiatta with cancer and has earmarked 13 June 2025 for surgery, for which reason he would be unable to return to the jurisdiction as scheduled. His lawyer stated that to the knowledge of the OSP, this change in circumstances has been brought to the attention of the court, for which Mr. Oforiatta is presently pursuing a human rights claim against the OSP and the special prosecutor. His lawyer stated further that in order not to hold the office back in the performance of his function, they had Mr. Oforiatta's instructions of his readiness to go through video recorded interview for the purpose of eliciting his caution statement. His lawyers offered to meet the special prosecutor in person or approach the bench for the purpose of viewing Mr. Oforiatta's biopsy report, whichever suited the special prosecutor. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the media, this is where we are now. Now let us step back a bit from the 28 May 2025 letter from Mr. Oforiatta's lawyers and place the matters in their proper context. I have intentionally went through a tedious timeline. The letter from Mr. Oforiatta's lawyers, dated 18 February 2025, clearly indicated that the possible surgical intervention to be performed on him was to occur on 20 and 21 March 2025, upon which reckoning the OSP carefully considered the recovery period and indulgently pushed Mr. Oforiatta's attendance at the OSP to 2 June 2025. Therefore, Mr. Oforiatta had a duty to promptly inform the OSP of any fundamental change in his medical circumstances on 21 March 2025, when the advertised surgical intervention was not performed, to enable the OSP reschedule a new date of his attendance at the OSP to accommodate any such material changes in his medical condition and treatment itinerary. Mr. Oforiatta has known, at least since 21 March 2025, that no surgical procedure was to be performed on him in March. Yet, he purposely sat by indolently and chose not to inform the OSP of such fundamental changes in his circumstances. Instead, about 67 days After learning of the alleged change circumstances around 21 March 2025, Mr. Ofori elected to spring a surprise on the OSP on 28 May 2025, just 6 days before his scheduled attendance at the OSP, by offering to undergo a video recorded interview and a viewing of his biopsy report. Now, back to the 28 May 2025 letter from the lawyers of Mr. Ofori. As I said, this is where we are. By a letter dated 30 May 2025, the OSP declined Mr. Ofori's offer of video recorded interview for the purpose of eliciting his caution statement. This office has always insisted on his personal attendance, and we have indicated clearly to him that we are unwilling to waive it. If we were amenable to taking any such statement from Mr. Ofori in absentia, we would have done so in February and not waited to 2 June 2025. We want him here physically, and we insist on it. A suspect in a criminal investigation does not pick and choose how the investigative authority should conduct its investigations and the method suitable to him and his convenience. We will not countenance such conduct, not in this case or in any other case. Further, the OSP has declined Mr. Ofori's invitation to view his biopsy report, as we consider it a pointless exercise. This is because it is common learning that the biopsy report contains nothing more than a conclusion upon the removal and examination of tissue, cells, or fluids from a living body that some disease or malady was indicated in the samples taken. A biopsy report is not an expression of a reasoned medical opinion that the subject of the report is an invalid and unable to travel, as Mr. Ofori seeks to suggest is his condition, and for which reason he says he cannot return to the jurisdiction. This much is clear. Since 24 January 2025 till date, Mr. Ofori has failed to show any medical report. I underline, he has failed to show any medical report which suggests that he is a travel risk and unable to return to the jurisdiction by reason of his medical condition. It has all been his say-so, his singular say-so. Therefore, the OSP views Mr. Ofori's lawyer's letter dated 28 May 2025 as an expression of utter bad faith on the part of Mr. Ofori, and it confirms our long-held, well-considered opinion and conclusion that Mr. Ofori has no intention of voluntarily returning to the jurisdiction and to attend the OSP. Further, this office is unaware of his purported information to the court, whether orally or by filed processes, of the alleged change in his circumstances. Today is Monday, 2 June 2025. It is more than 3 hours past the scheduled time of Mr. Ofori's attendance at the OSP, and Mr. Ofori failed to attend the OSP today. Mr. Ofori's conduct is totally unacceptable and a baleful spite at law enforcement and criminal investigations. It ends here. It ends today. We will no longer accommodate him. Consequently, the OSP redeclares that Mr. Ofori is a wanted person and a fugitive from justice. His name is hereby re-entered on the OSP's list of wanted persons.
Okay, abusuya wene ensema ekoso ewo political highway so Ken Ofori NHS CCR no ye declare no fugitive enye the client no OSP kisi edaben na yete ne kasa ewo hono bere masesa mo jepe ne kokoti sa oduwi the MI aha POG Media political trending stories are make waves no yen so ya atum say ye bebrem bere mase